Welcome to the Solipsist Cinema Podcast. Today, I'm going to talk about Burnhouse Lane. And joining me is Sonder Noise, aka Lucky Sisu, aka Sarah. Thanks for joining me.
Hello. Yeah, thanks for having me.
I actually first found your channel because of this video. Just like when I was first playing the game, I was like, no one's talking about this. Like, why isn't it a big deal? So I didn't watch the video until I
Yeah.
finished, but that's how I found it. So, yeah. And you have an awesome channel, too.
Thank you so much. Yeah, yours is great too. I was really surprised that no one else was making videos about Burnhouse Lane because like everyone loved the cat lady and stuff. So I don't know why people weren't jumping on it.
Yeah, it's really great, and yeah, like now anything Harvester game does, I'm there day one to get into it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's coming out with a new game. I'm pretty sure he's announced it, Train Watch, but I don't know when it's coming out.
Oh, I
But
haven't
there's
heard of
there's more
that.
in the works.
That's awesome. It always sucks for the indie developers. It's so hard for them to get an actual timeline. So it could
Yeah,
be a few years, but I mean, yeah, I'll be there. They're pretty awesome.
for sure.
So yeah, we're gonna get into pretty heavy spoilers, kind of right off the bat, because the game just starts out pretty brutal. But for anyone that might not play it or just wants a refresh, basically the synopsis is it follows this young nurse named Angie who has terminal lung cancer, and then she takes a job as a temporary caretaker at a farm. And there she encounters mysterious and nightmarish world known as Burnhouse Lane, which to me, Burnhouse Lane is kind of just basically like a metaphor for like the personal journey it takes for one to come to terms with like their own mortality. I assume probably that's the takeaway you had as well.
Yeah. Um, it was kind of like because I definitely consider it to be like a sort of purgatory. I think because I know that Rem Wachowski is very inspired by like the Silent Hill games. Um, it has that similar vibe of like kind of being a gateway between two realities, but also being a place where it's like people really come to terms with their baggage, I guess, kind of like this meeting place for like sad, fucked up individuals. But at the same time, it is sort of like a gateway to death, essentially.
Yeah, I kind
So,
of. Oh, sorry. I was just kind of
no, go
changing
ahead.
my mind when I was playing it. Because, yeah, at first it's like, okay, maybe this is something everyone goes through. And then the people that you encounter in Burnhouse Lane, the chill people just on the road, like they're kind of going through their own struggles. Like Omar and his like deli. He's not like exactly a
Yeah.
bad guy, but he's kind of just like, he's not really doing anything. So to me, it kind of also seems like it's just a phase of acceptance. And if you kind of comes to terms with it, then you'll go through Burnhouse Lane. But it's almost like everyone needs to go through Burnhouse Lane to like fully die in a way.
Right. And then like the actual death scene, or like the, symbolic kind of death scene with Angie is very peaceful. It's just like her kind of going down the river, but then she's had to go through like this absolute nightmare beforehand. So
Yeah.
it's just interesting.
Yeah, every time I was playing throughout it, I was just like, dude, David Lynch would love this game, especially that little like Morphe blob baby that you kind of like your pet
Yeah,
that you get. I'm like, dude, this is like, yeah, and like, you're walking through and like there's the organs, like, intestines and stuff just like pumping and thumping. It's so much like
exactly.
it's so much like his early films because I've been trying to rewatch all of his stuff since his passing, and I'm watching all the short films I never watched and like yeah, what's that one like six men vomiting or throwing or getting sick or something like that? It's
Oh yeah,
so
I've never seen that one, but I've heard of it.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like so like and it's so crazy it was in the 70s, but it's like just so like YouTuber style like with the little cutouts and like yeah, he just does what he wants. He's so cool.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Oh my god, yeah. Dude, it sucks the last thing we got from him was like in 2017 with Twin Peaks, which is probably my favorite work of his. But it was just like,
Yeah,
man, it would have been cool to get something else. But yeah,
for sure. But yeah, no, like stylistically, it's very reminiscent of something David Lynch would have done.
Yeah, and there's the tiniest chance he played it. So in my head, I'll just say like, yeah, he played it for sure, and he liked it.
That's
But
true.
you never know. But so yeah, anyways, to Burnhouse Lane, yeah, we can just go through like not super. It doesn't have to be so structured, but kind of what you have to do in the game is basically once you discover Burnhouse Lane in the farm's basement, you meet the burned cat, and he gives you this little assignment that you can do. You can complete 5 tasks, and if you complete it for him, then he takes away your cancer. Is basically the offer that he gives you. And yeah, I guess I didn't really say who you're at the farmhouse with. So yeah, you're caretaking for this old man George. And then I guess throughout it, you gain more and more people. The only person that's there from the start also is Kieran. I want to say. I know I'm not saying his name
Kieran?
right, but Kieran, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the little kind of stable boy guy that kind of lives in the trailer in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to ask you about him. I guess just there was like such awful dialogue that you could say to him, like just being such a dick. And
I
I like,
know.
did you do any of those? Cause like I can't. I'm like, man, like what, like why? Like you could just call
I
him like a
couldn't.
fat loser and stuff. I'm like, he's a nice dude. Like, come on.
Yeah. No, I love Kieran. Yeah, any game where it's like you can be just like an absolute dick to the other characters, like I could never do it. I feel so bad. Like,
Yeah,
but I don't know. Like sometimes I do it if I know that there will be like immediate big change. But when it comes to like getting a bad ending or something, like sometimes I just look it up.
yeah. I mean,
Because
yeah.
I'm
Like who
like,
says?
I don't
Yeah,
think I could stand going through a whole playlist of being
yeah.
or a whole
Like who says video games
playthrough of being
cause
terrible.
violence? I'm here like just doing the most polite thing ever. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Hell, thank you. You know, I'm like
Yeah.
yeah, way better person. I will for something like Red Dead. If I replay it, I'll do like one really bad and then one really good or something. But if you
Hmm.
mix it, I'm like, oh, what would have happened if I was just nice the whole time? You know?
And then when Richard died,
Oh my God, yeah,
devastated.
yeah.
I was like, I'm a monster. But I mean, because I didn't know that like that happens regardless, so I was like, this is totally my fucking fault.
Yeah,
And now Kieran hates me.
yeah, the first time I was playing, because yeah, like Kieran's like, so you fed him every day, or Richard's the horse for anyone, but so
Hmm.
yeah, you can as you're going through the game, you can feed him carrots whether you want to or not. And I honestly think I did. So when Kieran kept pressing me, I'm like,
Yeah.
did I like? And you can even I like how they give you that dialogue option to be like, I don't know if I did or not, but I was just like, no, I did for
Hmm.
sure. Hopefully saying that I did, but yeah, he just dies regardless.
My ass absolutely forgot, so I felt really bad.
Yeah, because he doesn't say. Yeah, he's like, do you feed him like I told you to? I'm like, dude, no, you did not tell me to feed him. Like I would have remembered. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's the character. So yeah, basically like chapter 1, it kind of really starts when Father Rob comes over, this priest, and he's kind of nice at first, kind of a dick, but then he kind of starts tweaking out when he's trying to find the meth lab that is underneath the farm that the previous caretaker controls. And yeah, it just gets so like it just kind of snowballs from there. And I like the pace of it the way it did that, because you really have time to kind of settle in, meet the characters at the farm, and then I think Father Rob, yeah, he like knocks you out and then you just kind of wake up in a sex dungeon basically, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, I just like how drastically, yeah, just insane the game can get, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, I
Hmm.
like the structure of it where yeah, like each chapter they can kind of just do their own thing. I remember in your video you kind of said that you maybe didn't like that each serial killer was a little bit, not solely connected to Angie's, I guess, like inner mentality. Do you still feel that way?
Like, kind of. It's a little crazy to think I made that video like almost 2 whole years ago, which is insane.
Yeah.
It does not feel like it's been that long. Um, like, I don't know. If we're going from just like story, like perspective, I mean, not all of them are super related. At least, I couldn't think of a way of like, oh, well, the Bloody Mary is symbolic because because when she likes drinking blood, and
Yeah.
I couldn't really find anything, but if you go into it knowing what Harvester Games is and what they've done, like, and you like what they do, like, it's fun. It's definitely fun. And I think, like, I can understand why Machowski did it, because I think it's kind of hard to make it super, like, engaging with a horror audience while you have this, like, drama going on. I think I said, in the video, like, oh, there's these, like, crazy serial killers, and, like, they just kind of come and they go, but, at the heart of the game, there's this, like, really nice, dramatic, like, engagement between all of the characters in the farmhouse. But we're trying to go through, like, a horrific journey with Angie in a way. And are the serial killers a little bit over the top? Yes. But it's camp, and it's like the cat lady, where it's like, okay, what the fuck? Like, who are these crazy people? I guess I will kill them now. Like the David Firth cannibals. Absolutely insane, and just like, why? But shit, I remember it. So,
Yeah, I think this was my first game of theirs. So I really didn't have any previous experience with the developer. So I remember, in that video, I didn't really know how similar it was to the cat lady before you're making those comparisons. So to me, everything was new. But yeah, in a way, each serial killer, I guess they're pretty much all serial killers.
yeah,
they're not like
and the creature.
yeah, like in a way, if you did want to make them related to Angie's mentality, you would have to do probably like a lot more backstory of like, and that could be a cool story too, like some childhood experiences of like, whatever abandonment, and have like a serial killer that embodies that in a way. But I also kind of just liked that you could just make up this random serial killer and then put it in this chapter and do its thing and then kind of move on. So I think there's a good argument for both. For me, I didn't mind it, but I could see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just kind of the balance of like, like, I basically live in like media analysis, and sure, like, it's great to have like this perfectly crafted narrative where everything flows together and is connected, but also, like, you are playing a horror game, so like the fun aspect is also important. Like, if it was a movie, it'd be a little fucking weird.
Right, yeah.
But I think the fact that it is like an existential, like, surreal trip that's also like nightmares. I don't know. I think fun's important, and I don't think everything has to be by the book so much.
Yeah, like fun is strangely exactly the word I would use. Just seeing how far and just how weird they push it every time. Yeah, it's just fun because, I guess like the creepy, priest isn't like the most original thing, but I don't know, like especially the voice acting in this game, especially for the Burn Cat, was fantastic. But for everyone, it was great. So yeah, like just the performances and the artwork just made it so great. And I don't know, just the fact that they go so hard. Like, he doesn't have just like a little basement with like the one, what's her name, Jenny, the actress you encounter. Yeah, it's not like that. He has like this huge, like, just catacombs of this. So it kind of gets in the realm of like, it can kind of get away with it, I think, because that's not realistic like at all.
Right.
So they'll just push it and up it, and yeah, so I really like that aspect. And then and so encountering Jenny, which I guess is like the last time she's kind of cool, because when you bring her back to the farmhouse, she's going through withdrawals, and she's kind of a bitch. But I really liked how she was introduced, for sure.
Yeah, it was. And it was like a really nice moment too, where it's like, oh, there's these two women and they've like been through hell. And I mean, you could say that about like all of Jenny's character, just like as a drug addict. And you think like, oh, they'll be best friends. They'll be a great alliance. And then no.
Yeah, it was awesome. And so yeah, I think the game like kind of fake gives you the choice to bring her back, but I think for her, no matter what, you can bring her back, or she kind of has to come back. But yeah,
Yeah.
like I really liked the bond they formed at first. And so, you still have some sympathy for Jenny just going through withdrawals and stuff, but especially towards the end, they just make her just unrelentingly just awful.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, we'll get into that later, but yeah, when you choose who you can give the cigarette to, she's looking very, very attractive for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't want to skip too far ahead. But yeah, do you remember? I was looking at some just recaps, and do you remember what happens to Father Rob? What happened on your playthrough?
I fed him to the cat, the burned cat.
I think, oh yeah, you can either kill him yourself or give it to the cat. Yeah, and I fed him to the cat, which I would think would be the option most people wouldn't do. I think people would do like the Kill Bill, take revenge for yourself. But I was like, I don't know, I kind of want to see the cat do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, and I kind of do wish that you just kind of had more time with him, but again, you don't really need it, like yeah, like the whole game's good enough that I just want more time in the world regardless, but yeah, he got a pretty
Right.
good ending.
Yeah, and it's like I don't know. It's they're very like black and white characters usually, like the villains, the enemies. So it's kind of it would have been cool to have like that be connected to like other stuff, but also I understand that like Father Rob's not exactly a very dimensional character.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because the next person you encounter, oh no, you encounter, yeah, you go to encounter, Walter Green, the serial killer in the woods, which yeah turns out to be maybe the only serial killer that is somewhat empathetic. But yeah, so before
Yeah.
you actually find the serial killer, you encounter Arno in the cabin, and I really like seeing that, just like the yeah, just sort of journalistic, yeah, slash like, I don't know, yeah, like in a way, just like an investigative, just really, yeah, passionate like YouTuber that's just gone through the
Yeah.
rabbit hole of all the kills, and he's just psychoanalyzing it to death. I really liked the introduction of him.
If there was any like killer that I would want stretched out to be like the main villain of the game, it would be the Walter chapter because Arno, we love Arno. He's so silly.
Oh yeah,
And I don't know, like the reveal was cool, but I feel like it could have been played up like longer. Like that definitely like and then just like the whole thing with the psychology of killing and then this character who's dying. It could have been pretty cool. But that was probably my favorite like scenario.
yeah. It's either, yeah, for me it would be that or the Bloody Mary, which is who you encounter next. Just because of how crazy she is, very like misery like.
Yeah.
But so basically when you're with Arno, I love how kind of blunt he is about, you're saying, oh, I'm gonna go find him because I have this, mission to do, and he's like, okay, yeah, he's gonna kill you though, so but
Yeah.
oh, well, I mean, but good luck, but yeah, you're gonna die, and whatever. Yeah, I just love how like blunt, but it's not in a mean way at all. Like he's just very straightforward, but he's still nice. I love it when
Right.
people have that kind of, yeah, just blunt persona. But yeah, so once you actually find Walter Green, spoiler, yeah, it actually turns out Walter Green is was like a military veteran, and the serial killer is actually his daughter. And in a way, like it's almost like the daughter is in a Burnhouse Lane kind of thing, going kind of trying to accept her father's death, and
Right.
she became a serial killer to kind of cope with that.
Yeah. And that's another reason that that particular part of the story is so interesting. I almost wonder if we're going to see these characters again because with the Devil Came Through Here series with Harvester's old games, it was very much like you'd see these characters like everyone would have their separate stories, but you'd see them kind of like mesh into each other in ways that you wouldn't necessarily expect. So it'd be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and like for characters coming in that weren't expected, yeah, like Kieran randomly shows up when you're confronting Walter, or what, yeah, Sheila is the daughter's name, and you can
Yeah.
kill her. What did you do? Because for me, Kieran showed up, and then I kind of just paused the game, and I took a solid like 10 minutes just going back and
Damn.
forth with whether I should kill him or not. And yeah, I think I had Kieran shoot Sheila, and then I invited Arno to come back. But I didn't know there's a way that Arno can actually get killed by Sheila. Maybe if you're meaner to Kieran beforehand and he doesn't want to come help you. What ending did you get for that?
I don't remember why that happens, but in my playthrough, Arno died, and I was devastated.
So have you
But
replayed it for when he lives, or is that just the only ending you got with him?
I think I like watched a clip of. No, I did replay it for where he lives for the video. I don't remember what the difference was though.
Yeah, because for me, which is really the only one I know aside from me, I think I saw like a screenshot of him being like impaled by Sheila. Yeah, basically, yeah, he's just like the second person that I invite back home. So at some point, I'm like, I guess maybe every chapter there's a character that you can invite back to the barn
Right.
or to the farmhouse. But so yeah, I get him, and then what happens is he stays in the top right room with the computer that it sucks you never get to use. Every chapter I walk up there, I'm like, oh, maybe there's like I can use something to plug in the laptop, or it never works.
Yeah.
But he kind of takes over that room, and then you later find out, maybe in chapter 4 or something like that, that he brought back Sheila's body, and all like the satanic like pentagrams. He's like getting into it, and so yeah, you basically just figure out that he's trying to revive her. And then yeah, he's kind of just pissed at you for killing him.
Yeah.
He just yeah, like yeah, he's going full just. YouTuber is the best way I can describe it, but just like someone that's
Absolutely.
just so hard into true crime, where they're like, they would poke the bear to get like someone to kill just so they could like write about it in a
Yeah.
way. So yeah, he's just trying to bring back, and yeah, and I guess eventually in my storyline he does become the new serial killer Walter Green. But there's like this little thing that you have to do, which I didn't do, where you can have him put on the mask, and then like at the end he can help you when you're in the meth lab, and he can help you out.
Oh yeah.
I didn't do that part though. Like I just saw him like in gear, and he was standing at the door, but then that's the last of I saw of him.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't get the meth lab thing either.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's so like I love games like that where just the replayability changes so much. Yeah, games like like Detroit Become Human or something where yeah, you can just replay it right away and pretty much get like a lot of different choices. And yeah, I like when your choices really matter. Especially in like a lot of indie games like this, they're just so limited on the resources that like they can give you dialogue choices, but like most stuff will kind of go the same path. Not always, but
Right.
yeah. So I like the variety that they had in this for sure.
And all of Harvester's games, I think that's one of the big draws is like the different endings. And it's the same with like the Silent Hill series. It has a very like similar appeal to that.
Yeah, in that aspect, I would say, and I think I mentioned this to you exactly for Silent Hill, that I like this version of it more because for Silent Hill, I'd have to replay the whole, I'm so slow at
Right.
playing games. Like if the game like says it's like a 26-hour game, it'll take me minimum 30. I walk so slowly and I just take so long. So yeah,
Yeah.
something like this where it's a little shorter, yeah, it makes
And
the
you can go
replay
back and
value a
it's
lot
like
faster.
yeah, like you can go back to the exact save or like the choices, whereas if like it's like Silent Hill 2, it's like okay, and you have to not heal very fast, and you have to run into Maria a bunch all the time, and it's like
Or
oh
when it's like
shit.
you have to open your inventory and look at the knife throughout the gameplay.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, how did anyone even figure that out in the first place?
Yeah, literally. But this is why I love these communities, is they're fucking crazy like that. And they'll be like, Must be the knife.
Oh my God, dude. Yeah, like Oddheader on YouTube, he has, this whole community set up where people on Discord just shout him out, like all these random ones. And some of the Easter eggs are like, you have to log on at a specific date in the past. You have to like clip through this one wall in this one section of this
Oh my
huge map. And it's
God.
like, man, like, gee, like how did anyone ever figure that out?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Absolute
insane.
madness.
Oh, but I did like on this. I didn't replay anything yet, but I think you can choose what chapter to replay once you finish it, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So that is very helpful. And yeah, especially if you just want to relive that, it's pretty cool. Or like choose different dialogue. 'Cause I know there's a few. I think Arno is one of the people you have a ton of dialogue with when you first meet him, and I think you can pretty much ask him everything as long as you don't select like the conversation ending choice. You can kind of just ask him mostly everything, I think, but
Yeah.
sometimes I think there's a little bit of a deviation.
He loves yapping.
Yeah, yeah, he does. Yeah, he definitely has a YouTube video about Walter Green. It's a whole series for sure.
Yeah.
So I brought Arnold back with me, and then there's always stuff you can do at the farm when you get back between chapters. I actually looked up how to make George a good sandwich because I was making him like just
I
normal
know.
sandwiches, and every time it's like, what a strange sandwich you've made. I'm like, what? Like, what
It's
are you
like
talking
PB and
about?
J. Okay.
How is that not one? Yeah. Like I think one was like just a jam sandwich was like jam bread, bread, jam, bread. I'm like, how?
I
Yeah, just
know.
some weird choices. But I think
British
I haven't
people,
looked it
man.
up. Yeah, seriously. And yeah, which is I think the whole cast is British, right?
Except Jenny.
I might. Yeah, or well, I guess for Arno, he has like a sort of
Oh yeah,
Finnish
no,
or
I know.
Swedish
Yeah.
accent to him. But yeah, because Jenny's like a Hollywood actress.
Mm.
Um, but yeah. So the sandwich dialogue, and I know, like I said, I didn't look it up for sure, but I know that if you go the whole game without giving him a sandwich that he does or doesn't like, that affects it somehow. I think I only
Mm.
gave him like 2 sandwiches that he likes, so I don't know how that really changed for me.
I just
But
gave him sandwiches that he tolerated. Every time it was like, oh, he's eating it. Like, what do you want from me?
yeah, just he's eating it, but he doesn't seem to enjoy it. Well, like okay, like give me some feedback, man. Come on.
Yeah, just at least tell me what you like, dude.
So there's little stuff like that you can kind of do, like little chores, like feed Richard that you're supposed to do between chapters. But then the next chapter, which maybe is my favorite just because how out of nowhere it is the Bloody
It's
Mary one.
crazy. Yeah.
And I think it was either maybe right here or I think it was probably in the previous Forest chapter with Sheila when I really kind of paid attention to the format. So I'm like, okay, like chapter after chapter, it's going to be kind of things will carry over, but it's going to be like, okay, it's going to be some weird serial killer here. You go through and then bam. So I really liked that format. And then, Bloody Mary, she's very like Misery-esque, the Stephen King movie. She's just, like a
Yeah.
really fat, mean lady that just, keeps people captive. In
And the
her,
pig.
the pig she gets her power from. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love the reveal of the person in the bed because I think you just see like a sort of shadowy outline of someone being on the bed in her apartment. So you kind of go up and then you just uncover it and it's just like this like animal of a human with his limbs completely just severed.
Yeah.
And it's just out of nowhere. And oh man, like I just love indie games. They can just do whatever. And it's like uncensored pretty much. It was
I
so cool.
think I think Michalski like has a thing for Misery particularly because in the other games, like I think the cat lady, there's a puzzle where like there's a screwdriver or something and it's hidden in the book Misery. And
Oh,
then
that's
I'm pretty
awesome.
sure there's another Misery puzzle in Downfall. I guess he really likes that story.
Yeah, I love when people do that. One of the main, Easter eggs in games is like The Shining, the tapestry or something will be Kubrick-esque or 237. Yeah,
Yeah.
if I was making a game, it would probably be to the point where it'd be too much. I'd be like, okay, dude, like you're just putting every single horror movie you've ever loved in this. Like, get an original idea. But like, it's so cool though. Like, you like put it in. Like, the bookshelf would just be like, yeah, just literally my bookshelf in the background or something. Be so cool.
Yeah, that's real.
But yeah, so and I liked probably the gameplay of Bloody Marys maybe the most because if you encounter her without any weapons, she just kills you immediately. You get one hit killed with like any encounter in the game. So yeah, you have to get the clock hand, and then you kind of set the times, and then she'll go to different rooms. So have to feed. I don't know if the pig had a name, but she'll have to go feed the pig, and then you can kind of sneak over. And yeah, you get the knife, or yeah, you get the scissors, and then you open up. Well, maybe I'm skipping ahead because at some point the corpse does die, and then that's when you open him up and then get something from his stomach.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't remember, but yeah, the gameplay of this chapter I think stressed me out the most. I was like, oh, do I go upstairs? Do I?
Yeah, and you're constantly trying to go down. Because for this one, the Burn Cat says that you need to like have someone drink your blood, so you're gonna try to poison the soup. And even when I first got there, I'm like, well, what if she doesn't drink the soup? And then you learn that the soup isn't even for her; it's for the body that she has. And for me, it just had her just get pissed and just dump the soup on the guy. And I think that's how he died. Is that what happened for you?
Mm-hmm.
Which is just, like just icing on the cake of just the worst fate that you could possibly have. Like, like, come on.
Imagine getting your limbs like cut off, sewn up, and you die to a bowl of soup. That's fucked.
Oh, dude, yeah. Like, it's so, like the Hannibal series, it's just something that he would do in that. Like, it's just so brutal.
Yeah.
Like in that point, like you just want to die. Like I wouldn't want to, after that trauma, you can't walk, you can't do anything for yourself. It's like, man, kill me, don't throw soup on me like that. But I mean, somehow, that sucks. Oh man. But yeah, so eventually you do kill. How do you kill Bloody Mary in this one? Was it with the axe or did you shoot her for you? I think it was the pistol, right?
I think, yes, it was the pistol because there was the boss fight in the attic. And she would, you'd shoot her, and then she'd grab your leg, and I hated it.
Oh, yeah, that caught me off guard, yeah, because I don't know, I wanted to double tap, and I didn't know that I should have maybe. I think that one, I hate when I have to look up a YouTube tutorial on the puzzle, just because I'm just prideful. I'm like, I can do it myself. But now I'm like,
right.
I have a job. Like, I want to, like, I could waste
time.
20 minutes on this and try to solve it for myself. But who am I trying to impress? And I think the puzzle there and it's always like such an easy solution after you know it.
Yeah.
But we have to like match like her ancestry with what month it is. And I guess in the farmhouse, if you looked at the calendar there, you would know what month it is. But I didn't, so I was just matching everything, and I was like, okay, like I'll just look this up, and then I can finally play the game again.
Yeah.
But do you have to look up stuff like that, or are you pretty good at those puzzles?
I find that the most like bizarre abstract puzzles, like I tend to just figure them out, and then the ones where it's like all the evidence is right there, I tend to completely fumble those. Like I love watching. I'm gonna bring up Silent Hill again because I have a problem.
Hell yeah.
But I find that like. Sometimes I like to look up like the puzzles that pissed people off the most. And a lot of the times those are the ones that I get, but the really basic ones that like no one needs explaining, like I fuck those up for some reason. So I definitely had to look up Bloody Marys, and I also had to look up how to beat the goddamn other boss fight that I think is the next one.
But the one when you're on the cruise ship, right?
Yeah, I was like raging at that one.
Yeah, because on that one, you can just waste your entire magazine on them, but then you have to go up and get like the axe and burn it and then go hit them. So yeah, like after 5 shots, I'm like, it doesn't look like I'm doing any damage.
Yeah.
And you're not trapped, so you can walk away. So I'm like, yeah, let me just look around because you're just doing no damage. But yeah, staying on Silent Hill just for one sec.
Yeah.
Yeah, the remake, that one part when like, slight spoilers for Silent Hill, sorry, when you're kind of trying to hang yourself in that noose courtyard thing,
Yeah.
and like, dude, there's like 11 options, and you can match the poems together. I think I had to look it up because yeah, after like 10 tries of going down to the
Yeah.
little thing, and there's enemies down there, so after the first try of me actually shooting them, every time I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna run through and not waste the ammo.
Yeah.
But yeah, I lent my little brother the game and he played it, and he's like, yeah, no, I did that like the first try. I was like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Like, what do you, I was like, that has to be luck, like, come on.
Like-
because I probably did every single option other than like the correct one, and it gets to the point where like everything is so vague on the little poems. I'm like, that could mean anything. Like,
Right.
all of the match. Like, what do you mean?
Like those ones, like I remember the Noose puzzle, like I figured that one out pretty quickly. And then like the piano puzzle in 1, which everyone hates. I'm like, I think I pretty much got that. Like I definitely had to look it up, but I was like, oh, I just did like one thing wrong. Other than that, it made sense. Like the Shakespeare puzzle, I don't know. People rage about the Shakespeare puzzle in 3. I think it's easy, but then like you show me a keypad and I'm cooked. Like, I'm destroyed.
Yeah, it is weird. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but yeah, sometimes where it's just so random where you don't know the method to solve it, where it's like, okay, maybe I use the last 3 of this, the last 3 of this, or I
Yeah.
do it in reverse. And in my head, I'm like, well, I don't know, like I'll kind of half summarize and I'm like, maybe this will work. And then I'll get it. And I'm like, dude, I'm a genius. Hell yeah. And
Right?
then the next one is so basic and I'm like, dude, I don't know. And then it's like, well, if you look up to this picture, it's what's in the picture. I'm like, oh, what? Okay,
Yeah.
I guess. Now I know, but like Resident Evil has that problem for me because those games, even more so than Silent Hill, you have to backtrack so much. So
It's agonizing.
yeah, if you take
Yeah.
if you take 4 days off or a week off just with work, you'll lose everything. You'll lose, or me, yeah, I'll forget the map and I'll be, because you need, oh, I need to get this key to get this door, but to get the key to open the door, you have to. There's so many steps, and
Yeah, no, the
it gets
Resident
kinda
Evil
ridiculous.
puzzles fuck me up so much because it's like everything's so like linear with Silent Hill compared to Resident Evil, and like, oh, the backtracking. You're right. It's just like I'm so bad with the Resident Evil puzzles. I'm like, ah.
Yeah, I wonder how it was for the first, or for the like Silent Hill 2 before it was remastered. But for me, when you're like first in Silent Hill and you can go to so many, like the music shop and get the half the vinyl and everything.
Oh, that's
I was like,
new.
I'm liking this, but like, is the whole game gonna be like this? And it is technically, but it's not bad. Like,
Yeah.
you can kind of do everything that you need to and then go to the main mission, and yeah, you'll pretty much be good. But yeah, with Resident Evil, you have to backtrack to progress, and I love, I've only really played, I guess, the remake of 2, and then yeah, what is it, 7, 8,
Yeah.
up from there for Resident Evil. So I'm pretty late to the bandwagon of a lot of these horror games.
I gotta play the Silent Hill 2 remake. Gotta see what the new puzzles are like.
Yeah, I heard they made it so that, yeah, it's like a little bit familiar, but not so familiar that you can just breeze through it if you've already played the original.
Because a lot of the puzzles are like so iconic, weirdly. So
Yeah, I think you would enjoy, without having ever played the first one or the original, I think you would enjoy it more because you could like go into a puzzle and be like, oh, I know what the solution to this is, and then they know that you're gonna know, so they kind of tweak it a little bit.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, so I guess back to the other game we're talking about, Burnhouse Lane.
Big tangent.
Yeah, it's worth it. Yeah, I'll talk about Silent Hill anytime. Yeah, after you do Bloody Mary, I wish I remembered a lot of the times when you go back to the house, because I know there's stuff I'm missing, but yeah, basically the next chapter is, I'm pretty sure, yeah, when you go to the Wax Museum that's on the, almost like the Titanic, not that big, but the kind of cruise ship, which is, yeah, very creepy too. Just like the people standing out there just isolated, and yeah, and you don't really know until you progress that there's actual people trapped in those wax figurines, which
Right.
yeah, just makes it more twisted.
I loved the like vibes of this chapter. I loved the atmosphere and the concept because something about it felt just so appropriate for this game, like the being like trapped in wax and like
Yeah, like frozen in time.
Frozen in time.
Suffering.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like it just feels so appropriate for like this is one where it's like the narrative seemed to like very much peek through like the concept the monster, but the like concept
Probably
of
the most generic
chapter.
monster because it doesn't talk or anything. It's just a big like black alien blob that kind of just chases you, right? There's no dialogue with it at all. Yeah.
Just kind of like, what the hell
But
is that?
the way you figure out about it is cool through the sort of like I don't know why I think of it, the the adventures of Tintin, his like old sailor buddy looking guy is who you talk to, and he kind of tells you he's the only person on there that I think you talk to, and he kind of just tells you what's going on. And then I guess I haven't also mentioned how you can collect the amulets in the game. I can only collect 3. Tell me if you did more than that, but they give you these little boosts.
I don't think I collected more than 3.
Yeah, it's like I think the cactus gives you a negative, which is so stupid. But it's cool. But and that's a really cool aspect that they put where the first amulet that you get gives you the ability to be able to force someone to tell you the truth in each chapter.
I got that one, yeah.
Yeah, that was so cool. Because I think no matter what, you kind of have to get 1, but then if you get the amulet, you can have 2 per chapter.
That's the first one, isn't it?
I want to say, the second one has something to do with the possession where you can
with the cats.
Where you can be the cats. I was surprised that the game had like gameplay where you were the cat, which is what I was going to bring up in this one on the boat. That's you get frozen and then you kind of what's that term when you kind of like rise out of your body, like astral
project
plane? Yeah, you kind of as the cat and you can move around. That was cool. Like I like that puzzle solving where you're like taking anatomy of the other wax sculptures around is really cool.
They had you play as the cat briefly in the Cat Lady too, and that like made my heart soar. I was like, yes, kitty.
That's so cool. It was just out of nowhere. And you can jump around and stuff. I think you use it. Back to Bloody Mary. She kills the cat too.
That pissed me off.
Did that happen to you?
Yeah.
Because when it happened, I was like, could I have snuck somewhere or hid anywhere? Because I know you do have the mechanic where you can hide. I think mainly only in the Bloody Mary chapter, like when the cops come, you can kind of hide, and she kills them. But so that she kills the cat, and I think it does eventually come back. But that sucked. I felt bad.
Yeah, the cat platforming I thought was actually pretty well done because, at their most basic, like Harvester Games has done like mostly in the style of like point and click. Like the very first Downfall, the old one from 2009, was like a proper point and click, but the other ones are like just like more or less the point and click formula. And when I saw in the trailer that they were going to try and introduce like gameplay, I got a little nervous. I won't lie.
Right, yeah.
But I think...
Did they also do the Fran Bow game, or was that someone else?
That was someone else. That was a Swedish developer, I think. Kill Monday. That was Kill Monday.
Oh,
very
right,
similar vibe,
they did.
though.
Oh, they did that. That one with the little girl.
Little Misfortune. Yeah,
yes. Okay. Yeah, because you got me thinking of cats and Fran Bow. So I'm like, do they have a cat in every single game that they do?
I think they do. Well, yeah, no, there's a cat in all of them. And they're usually Wait, what about Lorelei, though? Does Lorelei have a cat? I don't remember there being cats in Lorelei. Like, there definitely were, but they weren't as critical to the plot. But anyway, I liked the cat platforming section. I thought it was pretty fun. It was a little, took some getting used to.
Yeah, for me, it was a little janky, a little bit, but I'm like, you can't get mad at it.
Yeah.
That one part, skipping ahead when you're collecting everything to get into the secret box and you're kind of, jumping around. That's probably when you play as a cat the most for the longest time, and you're just, taking, what does it say? Like the 3 things that you're going to be missing out on in life are the things you have to collect. And that one pains me that I had to look it up because most of them are obvious. Like the The infant sock, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
having kids, even though, you could argue, but sure, whatever. That's something that she doesn't have that for
Mm-hmm.
sure. The wedding ring, yes, but then you're supposed to take the gray hair off of the guy, and I just
Yeah.
didn't know that you could get that high to jump up and get
Mm-hmm.
it. So I'm like, I did the money. I'm like, what's a game? So is it the YouTuber plaque? I don't know. And I'm like, it's no way it's the drugs.
You'll never be YouTube
Yeah,
famous.
I'm like, is that like it's not completely negative? I mean, you can YouTube for good. Come on, but yeah. So the gray hair. So yeah, the cat is actually really integral to the game overall. I mean, yeah, there's no way to progress if you don't play
Hmm.
as a cat, but I do like that you have the different cats that you can do. Yeah, and that's basically how you get out of the wax ship portion.
Yeah. And with the, I mean, I guess we're not there quite yet, but I like the like whole summoning the cats thing, like in the Mitzi chapter. I thought that was very cute, very sweet.
Well, I guess we're pretty much done with that part. Like, say we get off the ship and then come back. Yeah, what part are you talking about with the summoning the cats?
Oh, really quickly before we move on from the ship, how about that boss battle?
Oh my God. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So that's Jesus Christ. That's where earlier in the game you can do like a gun range thing with Kiernan, and he gives you this specific gun
Yeah.
for like this, whatever big ass revolver he has. So I'm kind of saving that in the game. I'm like, all
Hmm.
right. And I think I had it in the Bloody Mary one and I didn't use it. And so I just wasted it on that guy. Like it
Yeah.
says in the description, one shot, one kill. You use this on any enemy. So I'm like, okay, this
Hmm.
guy's coming at me. I'm not doing any damage. So I just wasted it on him, and then he just got back up like immediately.
Yeah. No, I was tweaking because I did the
Oh,
exact
did
same
you?
thing. And I had like, because like I had used the just like regular bullets because I was like, oh, I should save this for like the final boss or something. And then I used the one hit bullet
Oh.
and fucker got back up and I started
And the
tweaking.
music was like,
I was like,
the
I can't
music
do
was
this.
utilized very good there. That's when it had like the most dun 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 time, and so yeah. So the
Yeah.
pacing is just insane, and you're just running, and yeah, you have to run
Yeah.
perfectly, and yeah, the dodge mechanic, which is a little bit janky, you really have to time it for when you go
Mm-hmm.
under someone. But yeah, you're just kind of feeling
Yeah,
claustrophobic
the dodge mechanic
running
fucked
through.
me over
Oh
sometimes,
man,
but
yeah, but yeah, that was a cool one. So yeah, like the gameplay for that kind of saved the fact that the wax man wasn't really too like fleshed out, but the rest, everything around it was fine. So I
mhm.
didn't really. There's not, yeah, to me, there's not really like a bad chapter in the whole game.
Yeah.
Like there's really no filler. It is, I guess this is kind of going into the end part, for when you get back to the farm. And yeah, by this point, depending on who you have back at the farm, you can go up and talk to Arno, do some stuff with him, and then George. Yeah, there's some other stuff with George you can do. Like he kind of goes up to the top of the barn, and you can go like chat with him. But
Yeah.
everything is kind of, I think, pretty routine when you get back to the farm. But I did like, yeah, probably the conversations with George are probably the best. Just like this kind old man, very,
Mm.
yeah, he's just so nice.
Yeah, and his voice actor's great.
Oh yeah.
I loved listening to him. But yeah, that was definitely one of my favorite moments is just like sitting on top of the barn and like you've had all this insane shit happen to you and George is just like, let me tell you about a girl I met.
It was
And
cool.
became my wife.
Hearing you in your video talk about that is cool, because I didn't do that. I went up there to talk
Mm.
to him, and I think at that point, because yeah, this is maybe after chapter 1 or something, so you don't really know him that well.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to like piss him off, like make the old man chat, and he's just like a grumpy. I didn't know how he was yet, so I didn't
Mhm.
know if he'd be like, just let me shut up here by myself. So I just kind of sat there in silence, which was also cool because it gives you like this kind of like 3.5 minute song plays, and it kind of
Yeah.
just does like a montage of the surroundings. So honestly, I like that also, but I do wish that I had also kind of found out about his love a little more,
Right.
because that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's just those like kind of quiet moments. I think that's one thing that Harvester does very well is the contrast where you have the like absolute like insanity and then you have just like the very chill, like subdued, atmospheric, very like nature related usually like moments. Maybe not so much in like Downfall, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
video games are so good with that. Like, yeah, like The Last of Us is one that always comes to mind. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you can, they just pace it so perfectly where, yeah, at some point you're just like itching for a cutscene. Like, one, because they're just
Yeah.
so beautiful, but you're also just like, dude, I've been just grinding through this, and it's, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like clicker after clicker, and then they give you that quiet moment and you can just breathe.
You're
And
like,
yeah,
yes.
oh man, yeah, yeah, you yearn for those moments. But yeah, they do it really good in this, and yeah, that's one thing just about the whole game overall is just the atmosphere that it creates,
Yeah.
the backgrounds. And at first, it was I never didn't like it, but I was like, this is kind of a weird thing they're doing where they had the unreal, not really watercolor, but just kind of like hue of like different
Mm.
bright colors. And like I said, yeah, I never didn't like it, but I was like, that's kind of like interesting what they're doing. And
Yeah.
yeah, I loved how they utilize it throughout.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the sound design, I actually really like the sound design of these games. You know, it's indie, so like you'll a lot of the times you'll hear like the same exact sound effect like over and over again. But like music wise and like just it's just atmospherically, I like them a lot.
Yeah, and yeah, for those like quiet moments, the sound design is so important. If it's just
Hmm.
yeah, simple wind or grass or rain is obviously a huge one. You have to really yeah, nail it to kind of yeah, just live in that silence even if it isn't
Hmm.
completely quiet.
For sure.
Yeah, I can't believe I haven't played any of their other games. I was gonna play the Cat Lady, but I
Mm.
haven't started PC gaming too much yet. So Burnhouse Lane, I think last year, the year before, they put it on PlayStation. So that's the only reason I played it, or well, you know, as soon as I did.
Yeah, the Cat Lady's my favorite game that they've done because I'm basic like that. That's everyone's favorite.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's very like that game in particular. You have like and I just love the color palette in the Cat Lady too, where it's like you have all this like darkness, and again with like the serial killers, and then you'll be like over a river, and it'll be just like peaceful piano music over a river or like in a field, and it's very beautiful and it makes me cry.
Oh,
It's
did you really cry when you were playing the game?
the Cat Lady. Oh, most definitely. I've played it at least 3 times. Yeah, at least three.
Oh,
I've
that's
spent a lot
awesome.
of time
Yeah.
going over the Cat Lady because I made an hour and a half video of it a couple years ago. And then I was like, this video is ass. I'm gonna remake it. And then I remade it. And then I was like,
Oh.
I hope I never have to comb through the game again because I've done it so much.
Oh man, yeah, that's one of your yeah the few videos of yours I haven't watched just because yeah I just don't
Mm.
want any spoilers going in.
Definitely go
But
in
yeah, I think
blind.
you do. Yeah, in Burnhouse, I think you do mention it, the contrast in colors. How yeah, this one is a little more yeah,
Mm.
just like kind of colorful and yeah, that kind of black and red aspect of
Yeah.
the cat lady looks really cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
It's very like it's more vibrant and like kind of realistic Burnhouse Lane. Um which took some getting used to, but I appreciate the style that they're going towards because I think you know like looking at games by like kind of a younger developer, and it was like a lot of like really like edgy kind of stuff, and it's like not to say these games aren't edgy, like like there's some really unhinged shit in Burnhouse Lane, but there's also some very like mature, like down to earth kind of stuff too.
yeah they do a good thing of that. I yeah, I guess I was gonna mention it in the beginning, but we just got into it kind of fast.
Mm.
You start the game basically by trying to commit suicide, and
Right.
yeah, and in your video, yeah, tell me if this is how you felt. You kind of felt it was maybe
Mm.
like what, like edgelordy, kind of just like off the bat doing that.
Kind of like it's not even so much like the shock value thing that I kind of took issue with. It was more just like I understand the artistic intent behind it, and as you know the 2 years have passed, I've kind of come to not really be bothered by it as much. Um but I think like at first I felt it was a little bit, I don't know if like triggering is the right word.
Yeah, just kind of
but like,
without warning, just that's the first. Because yeah, literally
yeah.
3 minutes in, that's probably your first thing that you do.
Mm-hmm. And I felt like with the cat lady, because the cat lady opens the same way as a woman killing herself, but like you're not walking her around to take the pills. Like she explains what's happening in like great detail, but it's not you doing it. And something about having the player do it felt a little bit like over the top, a little bit like not as tasteful. I don't know if I really have that much of a problem with it anymore because they do give a warning at the beginning, but like I could see how that would be a little bit like just not great for, parts of the player base, cuz let's be real, most of Harvester's player base is mentally ill people.
Uh,
So
yeah. Yeah, but yeah, like
I think for me,
yeah, for me, I guess
sorry, go ahead.
I just didn't really have a problem with it just because yeah, they give the warning. And yeah, for me, I was just from the standpoint of yeah, they could have taken more time to put you in Angela's mind. Yeah, Angie is her name. Mindset.
Angie,
But
yeah.
yeah, I'm mixing it with Silent Hill now. I'm like, oh no, Maria,
Yeah.
Angie, or whatever. But yeah, I did
Yeah.
like it. For me, which is probably what they were going for. For me, I was like, okay, at any point, if you're so dissatisfied with your life that you're gonna kill yourself, that's the kind of mindset she's in. Okay, I understand that mindset. Now I'm with you in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have fleshed it out a little more beforehand. I don't even know if you have cancer at that point when you do it. So it really is just like a moody apartment. I think it's like, yeah, like the only thing you can interact with. So it's like, okay, that's what you do.
Yeah.
So for me, I think it had the intended, like consequence or like just kind of like put me in the right mindset for the game. But
Yeah.
yeah, depending on the mood you're in or whatever, if this is just a game you throw on to play and you're just not ready for it. Yeah, it could be a little bit much, but I
Yeah.
liked it.
I think there's two sides to it, because at first I was like, I don't know if that was a good choice, but now like I see it as kind of like a double-edged sword thing, and just for the sake of like artistic intent, like I respect it. Because on the one hand, it's kind of like how to kill yourself 101. And
Yeah.
that, I don't know, like, but there's something very similar in the cat lady, which I'll do my best not to spoil anything. There's a very similar thing where there's this whole thing of like there's a puzzle that's also kind of like how to kill yourself 101.
Oh yeah,
And
that sounds.
they
Yeah,
talk
like
about it. Yeah, and it's like, well, if you want to kill yourself, unfortunately, like you will find a way.
Yeah.
um
If you try to talk about how it's gonna bleed over into real life, yeah. If anyone wants to kill themselves for in this game a noose,
yeah.
everyone knows how to do that. If you're measuring out,
Right.
the micro doses of, pills you're supposed to take and the bag and everything, it's like, okay, yeah, like, yeah, that would be kind of weird to do step by step. For
Yeah.
me, I would like playing a game that had that, but yeah, you just have some kind of warning at the beginning just to kind of cover your
Absolutely.
bases a little bit.
I think just the warning for like triggering content, like I think it's fine. Um but like what I've come to kind of appreciate about it is that as you're going and you're doing these things, you're like, no, like don't do that, but you have to. Like you literally have to progress through the game, and it kind of makes you feel like, oh, like icky, but
But
I
yeah,
think
but that
that's
is
the intent.
the intent. Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
I can
I'm always
respect it
gonna.
as that.
I always relate everything to The Last of Us for whatever reason, but in that game, yeah, they put the player in this point of view where, yeah, I don't think I can really spoil The Last of Us. Anyone that's gonna play it would have played it by now, but they just really provoke the player and make you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And some people conflate that with poor writing, but it's like, for me, it's just great writing that has a great effect, which is negative. So for me, if I'm
Yeah.
playing a game or a movie if I'm feeling something really at all, then that's like a job well done. Unless it's just, like just hatred of the craft of like I'm just bored out of my mind or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're making me feel, yeah, really anything, then that's cool. But yeah,
It's
some people are
yeah.
more comfortable feeling uncomfortable.
It's all context, and it's all about like sensitivity. Like, are they being sensitive to this issue, or is it just for shock value? And I think it's very safe to say that Machowski is sensitive to these issues. Maybe like they're not delivered super sensitively, like, the cat lady, like, bam, Susan's killing herself. Oh shit, okay. But like the whole point of these stories is to go along with the protagonist, who is just like at this like climax of tension and darkness, and exploring that. Whereas, I have read like stories and things by people who are not so great writers, and it's like, oh, and then suicide, and it's so crazy, guys, and it's just
Yeah.
like completely insensitive. But like, I honestly, like, I'm okay with the opening scene. Like, I can appreciate it a lot more now.
Yeah, and I guess after you've played it and just how, yeah, like nuanced they handle the ending, which I guess we're pretty much at now, might have you reframe how you view the beginning. Because yeah, it does kind of bookend with that whole suicide thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, like getting into that, like basically after you complete all the tasks, yeah, that cigarette or the box that we alluded to earlier, that you find with the cat, you basically find out that there's a cigarette in there and that whoever smokes it gets the cancer that Angie has. Yeah, she has lung cancer and she smokes a lot in the game. I don't think we mentioned that. That's how you save
Oh yeah.
the game, which is cool. So yeah, basically, tell me if you had any other options. My option was either to smoke it or like not smoke it myself, but i.e. Leaving the cancer within my own body. I could give it to Jenny, which, like I said before, she really becomes just an antagonistic, bitch at the end. She's going through withdrawals and stuff. So, I mean, I don't hate her to death, but it's just like, if you're going to give it to anyone, you'd probably give it to her. I don't think you can give it to Kieran. You might be able to, but I'm not sure.
I don't think so. I think those were the same three options that I had, where it's like you smoke it or you leave it or you give it to Jenny.
Or you could give it to, I guess we kind of glossed over the meth lab portion, but the old caretaker, you do
That's
have the
right.
option to give it to her.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I
no,
don't
we did.
remember
Oh, we
which I
glossed
did
over a lot
first.
because, yeah, you go,
Oh yeah, the whole meth lab.
yeah, we forgot about it, which, yeah, if anything felt shoehorned in, it would be that portion.
Yeah.
I didn't, again, I guess that's just nitpicky, but it was I don't know, just kind of weird with the pacing. But yeah, that's when, depending on how you play, Arno can come in and I think kill some people. I'm not sure what, because I didn't get that ending. But when the kind of nice drug dealer guy takes you outside, you do have the dialogue option to offer your cigarette to him. And I
Yeah.
didn't, just because I was hoping something would happen. And then George shows up with he just puts the cane in his back. He's like, put him up, Shani.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of weird that the one thing that was foreshadowed and ended up being like instrumental to the end of the story was the meth lab of all things.
Yeah.
Like at the end I was like, what the fuck is going on?
And yeah, because you knew it was
yeah.
going to be some kind of drugs, because yeah, like the priest comes over and yeah, that's what he's looking for. And you kind of, yeah, get a hint that it's a little bit more than weed, because that's what he says, like, oh, I'm looking for the marijuana, but you're like, bro, you're on something else. And then yeah, Jenny's trying to get in there, and then yeah, how do you know that there are drugs in there before Jenny goes into there? I think
Yeah.
you have to find out somehow that there are drugs in there before the door opens, right?
Yeah, because I think Father Rob, he just says like, oh, her special lab, where is it? And it's like,
Yeah, I think
dude,
yeah,
I
I
don't
think he has
know.
to mention it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I never knew. I thought that they would maybe make it so that Angie never even breaks into there. I was really curious how her how she would end things. Like I thought that she could probably do something crazy to George, or Kieran just with freaking out if she got into Kieran's trailer with his 10 AK-47s and all that.
Yeah.
Who knows what she would do. But yeah, so she does just break into there. And then what happened for you? Because for me, I got locked in like the back room by the girl, and then Jenny kind of talked her way out of it, and they became cool. But then Jenny, ratted me out, and she's like, she's a narc. She'll tell. Is that what happened for you?
I think that's exactly what happened for me.
Yeah, I don't know if you have much choice in that one, but that's where, like before then, Jenny's just going through it, so it's like you can forgive her, but then when she's just throwing you under the bus and probably trying to get you killed, that's when the cigarette is like, okay, if I have that option, which I actually didn't, getting back to that, but yeah, so with the meth lab, I guess that's kind of how it ends, and then, depending on who you have, either Arno can kill them, or I think when George holds the cane up to that guy, I think he just runs off, or you knock him out. Oh no, because you do knock out the main bad, the meanest drug dealer, and then he comes back. What happened for you when that happened? Because he does get back up after you knock him out, right?
God, I don't even remember.
I think you or Kieran just shoot him, honestly. But
probably,
man, I can't believe I don't remember. I guess that's kind of the most unmemorable portion of the game.
Yeah, that whole part didn't really stick out in my brain.
Yeah,
I was like,
but so
okay.
After that, it's nitpicky, but it was just kind of odd, but it does get you to the ending, which is pretty great, where so you have the option to pretty much, I guess at the end your main choices are to smoke it yourself and just this slowly die, or you can give it to Jenny and just pass your cancer on to her. What one did you do when you first played it?
I want to say that I just let Angie die at first, because
Really?
I was thinking there's no way that giving Jenny the cigarette is the right solution for the, I guess, I don't know. I don't think that Harvester includes true endings, but there usually is an ending that makes the most sense with the story, and it's kind of has a canon ending sort of vibe, and that's what I usually try to get first. So I think I just let Angie die, and it was quite lovely. I really liked that ending particularly.
I think that's the best ending, because I wrote down a couple of them. So I think that's the good ending, and then that one, I think that's the only one where Kieran gets his girlfriend. He kind of lives happily ever after. George lives, he's sad, but he goes to your grave. You die, and then in any ending, Jenny always overdoses. Even if you give her the cancer, she still overdoses. It might be on something different, like heroin versus pills or something, but her ending is just she always dies.
Yeah. What did you think about the golden ending? Because I think the golden ending, do you give Jenny the cigarette or not?
So I wrote down in the bad ending is when you go to Japan and you're kind of unsatisfied because that's kind of what your
and
ex-boyfriend
that's when you give her the cigarette.
Yeah, /
Gotcha.
husband was kind of his dream to go to Japan, so you're not really enjoying it. But that's the one when George dies in the fire. And you kind of get punished for giving Jenny the cigarette because George dies in a house fire.
I like how Jenny dying isn't even really a punishment. It's Jenny died, and George died.
Oh man, I wish I would have wrote down how it ends, because it's the last line of Jenny's death, where it's just she died alone, because she's she's a big movie star, so it's she died, the tabloids wrote about her for a week, and then everyone moved on and no one cared. And it was a very somber note, but I guess if you got the rest of the good ending, it was still happy. But I do like a sad ending.
Yeah. I just thought it was really interesting how that was in the golden ending too. It's and fuck Jenny! We fucking hate that bitch! Jenny died, let's go! It was
Yeah.
It's yeesh!
yeah, like there's no happy ending for Jenny at all.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, like it would be nice to see her kind of get her shit together, and it doesn't have to be a Hollywood actor, but either, yeah, stay on the farm and live that awesome life, or just go back and just live a humble life or whatever. But yeah, no, she just dies no matter what.
Yeah.
Hey, I have to go to the bathroom so bad. I'm just gonna leave it recording, and I'll be back in like 2 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, what do you think are, because the game kind of also explores kind of the ethics of suicide, but also, yeah, the ethics of like passing your cancer on to someone else, and whether like Angie deserves to live or not is something that was really interesting to me. And I think that's ultimately maybe why my ending that I did is I just took the cancer, to smoke the cigarette myself. Just thinking, yeah, like, I don't know, even if I do live, she's really, it's depressing, but she's just alone. She's not happy anyways. Not that, you should kill yourself if you feel that way, obviously. But I'm like, yeah, like, is it really worth it for me to sacrifice someone else's life just for me to continue living just for the sake of life? So I really like that the game, yeah, like on the player kind of made you think about the ethics in that way.
Well, I think when it comes to like terminal illnesses, like, and like suicide, not talking about like mental health and suicide here, but there is this idea of like dying on your own terms. And Angie brings that up a lot about like, I don't want to die in some hospital bed. If I'm going, just let me go. And like, I think that is a completely respectable like decision to make for yourself. It's like with animals, I grew up with a lot of like animals as a kid, and there was always this like conversation to be had about like, do we force this animal to like stay alive, or do we just let him go? And usually I think ethically a lot of the time it's just better to let them go and not just like keep them like blind, deaf, fucking like can barely smell, just like waddling around everywhere, doesn't know what the fuck is going on. Like
yeah, like at that point, yeah, like just what quality of life are you preserving? Like so I'm very like pro euthanasia with that, because especially
pro euthanasia,
kinda...
let's go.
Yeah, it's iffy saying that because and I'll get into it. It's like and don't take this out of context, but I'm pro suicide in the sense that if you just hate your life, who am I or really anyone to say like, no, you should continue to live. Right. Like, life is just a struggle. Like, why? Even if you can struggle for the next however long just to get to the level of maintaining happiness, like, at some point that's just not worth it. So like, if you want to kill yourself and you've exhausted all possibilities, it's like I can't really, I don't know, I don't have any basis to really deny that or like say it's wrong, like ethically wrong.
And just to get like pretty dark here, I've sometimes thought about this, like, well, shit, if I like come down with a terminal illness, or if I'm like old as fuck or some shit, like, or if I get dementia, which I probably will, which is awesome.
Yeah, with all this brain rot
if
content,
I live that long, which is better, like hanging on until the very last drop of living and then like flatlining alone, or like not alone but like surrounded by people you can't even fucking recognize in like some hospital bed, or being like, all right guys, February 23rd, I'm fucking dying, let's have a crazy party beforehand, let's have a great time, and then schedule death time.
Yeah, honestly, and like a movie that does that perfectly is Midsommar. Ari Aster, which he does fucked up stuff on a regular basis. Yeah, if you anyone hasn't seen his movie on YouTube, The Strange Thing About the Johnsons,
Oh, I've never seen
warning,
it.
but it's insane. Oh yeah, it's probably like the worst thing in a good way you'll watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Strange Thing About the Johnsons. Going blind, I can't tell
Mm.
you why it's so horrible, but it is a tough watch. Like it is just so hard.
Oh
Like in
my.
yeah, it's insane. It's so good. I'll send you a link to it, like to a high quality version on YouTube. It's
Let's
insane.
go.
But with Midsommar, basically, you're not gonna thank me after you watch it. But with Midsommar, I don't know, have you seen
I've
it?
seen Midsommar, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I loved when yeah they have like this kind of organized suicide basically
Hmm.
where, and spoiler alert for Midsommar, where yeah at a certain age they think of your life as seasons, and I think it's at like 76 when they choose to die. So I
Yeah.
mean, if you're perfectly healthy, then I mean maybe don't do it if you still if you don't want to. But yeah, in their
Hmm.
culture, or their not really culture I guess, but their little what province I guess culture, it's
Their
just what you do.
culture.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
But they like doing it. So, and again, yeah, like if you're that happy to commit suicide, and it's like, I mean, okay, everyone's. Tell me if I'm wrong. Like, just tell me if I'm wrong. I don't know.
right.
Like in the context of the movie I'm talking about, people, YouTube. Yeah. So
Hmm.
they just jump off and commit suicide, and yeah, like in the Americans that go over there, kind of stunned by it and shocked. And I mean, I can
But
say
there's a lot
now,
of
like,
dignity.
yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, like you said, like, taking ownership of their life and control, not just withering
Hmm.
away. And yeah, like, at what point, to me, there's clearly a point where just life just isn't worth living just because you're just not enjoying it. And you're
Yeah.
likely to not get to a point where you're going to enjoy it. And so, yeah.
Hmm.
So, but the way they did it in Midsommar, where yeah, you're just old and you are respected in this community, and you think of it, it's like an honor to do that. Like you get, everyone comes and watches, they, pray over you. The only bad side is that if you jump and you don't die, you are in pain and someone has to walk up and
Hmm.
kill you. But even doing
Yeah, that'd be
that,
fucked.
that's the worst. And like, I love that it had that nuance because yeah, like it couldn't be perfect. Like it couldn't be, oh, they committed suicide, painless, bam. Because that's one of the best
Hmm.
ways to commit suicide, I would say, is just as painless as possible. But yeah, I think the dude just lands on his ankle, and just yeah, the worst way to do it because you're just agonizing.
Yeah.
And then I always hated she walks so slowly to hammer his head,
Hmm.
and it's like, dude, come on, like every second he's in the worst pain of his whole life, like
I
sprints
know.
over
It's like,
there, like
oh.
come on. But I love that movie in that aspect. And so yeah,
Hmm.
any movie or TV show or a game like this that yeah just tackles suicide in you know any kind of nuanced way, even if it's the unpopular, like a taboo angle of it, even if it's that
Yeah.
something I wouldn't even agree with. If it was, I would play like a pro suicide game just to play it. Maybe not everyone wouldn't do that, but I would like the nuance of it, but I wouldn't maybe recommend it to everybody if that existed.
Well, the thing about like Harvester and, like putting, say, like the cat lady next to Burnhouse Lane is you have sort of the like anti-suicide message, and then like I don't want to say the pro-suicide message because it's not really that, but like the more like death acceptance kind of message is with the cat lady. You have this kind of like, oh, I'm just beyond saving, it's never gonna get better from here, and it's, whatever, the suffering and the death is inevitable. But the whole point of that game is, okay, well, no, it's not. um and I think, a lot of people with like mental health conditions, they might think like, well, my life is beyond repair, and it's, well, do you know that? I mean, again, and I said this in my cat lady video, it's like, I can't tell you not to kill yourself. Like, it is your life. And it's, you're able to opt out if you want, but like, it will hurt people. It absolutely will hurt people. And it very well could rob you of great experiences, very worthwhile experiences that you'll just never have. Whereas with like Burnhouse Lane, you have the, oh, I'm fucking dying of lung cancer and I'm in agony and I'm completely alone.
Yeah, and yeah, so for in a game, especially if you kind of do have to show, yeah, for we need to figure out a better term, but the pro suicide angle of it, you do have
Yeah.
to show it enough to kind of maybe even like prove to the audience that you understand it, because if
Hmm.
you're, yeah, if you're gonna do an anti-suicide message to someone, if you don't understand it well enough, then it's just gonna come across as, you know,
Right.
holier than thou, lecturing them, this like preaching. So the audience that needs to hear that wouldn't really be receptive to it.
Hmm.
So there is a fine line you have to balance of, yeah, like putting it in there. I mean, as much as I guess the creator wants, but just so that you and the audience can be on the same page, and
Yeah.
kind of, yeah, just admit an uncomfortable truth. I think is good. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, because even if a lot of times if you're well intentioned, you'll maybe be like, oh, you should never kill yourself, and it's a
Right.
nice sentiment to have. But like, yeah, if you're to the audience you're trying to tell that to, they're gonna be like, okay, well that's obviously not true.
Hmm.
So they're gonna just like maybe, you know, just write off anything else beneficial that they could get from your message just because you're kind of just not being honest off the bat. So
Right.
yeah, so that nuance up front, and in a game, that's like the perfect way to do it,
Hmm.
and that's why I think it's one of like the best mediums that I think like we've ever created. It takes like the best elements of film
Right.
and the long form TV show, but it puts you in it. So yeah, the things that they're gonna do with like VR is gonna be
Hmm.
insane. But yeah, just how personal video games can be,
Absolutely.
is, yeah, way more powerful than movies sometimes even.
Yeah, the like interactivity, I think, and especially as like a form of awareness of any kind of thing. It's like, okay, well, you are playing as a suicidal person now. You are the depressed person. And I think, you know, with the cat lady, I witnessed personally, like firsthand, that having to thread that needle with the cat lady, because when I remade my video, because there was basically no way that I was gonna be able to make that video without like saying, hey, by the way, probably don't kill yourself. But, you know, like, there is that thing of like being genuine and like, is this coming from just a cover my ass thing, or is it actual engagement? And that's kind of why I took the approach I did that
Yeah.
got me age restricted.
It's
So
from talking to you, it seems like one of your best videos, and I can't watch it until I play the game. Honestly,
it's
like
all good.
maybe I will just because, yeah, it might be a second till I play it. And I mean, even, yeah, for anyone listening, like if we spoiled the whole game, if you play Burnhouse Lane for yourself, it's still
Mhm.
gonna be like a dope experience. So, you
Yeah.
know, in a sense, I think you can spoil video games more than you can spoil movies and still like it, just
Right.
because of how long it takes to go through it.
For sure. But yeah, if you can, yeah, like you know, going into the cat lady blind is definitely good. But if you want to give me the engagement, I guess I can't complain.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, go watch your video. For me, I might not watch it. I honestly probably will, but but yeah. So yeah, I like that. Yeah, if you got age restricted, you could have if you just mentioned the word suicide maybe too many times. But
Hmm.
it seems it's probably because like, you know, you're just talking about it just straight up, which is awesome. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, I always like content that does that, especially in, yeah, just like a nuanced way like you do.
Mm, thank you. Yeah, it's just the word unalive actually like makes my blood boil. I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, to a point, like we have to share this content and it has to like get past the censorship of social media platforms, but it's become so normalized that it's like, even when it's not entirely necessary, or it's like your financial stability is not based on how much engagement you get, like, let's just fucking talk about this issue without completely alienating the people that it affects. Like, oh, your mental health issues are icky. we don't want to like talk about them in a direct way. Like, it's not good.
Yeah, that's why, yeah, that's, part of what I try to hopefully do on my channel is just all these taboo topics, whether it's, yeah, whatever, rape, pedophilia, exploitative movies or whatever. Anytime people talk about them, they're always kind of tiptoeing and, like even, I don't think we've said anything that crazy about suicide,
Yeah.
but I don't think many people would really, I don't know, they just wouldn't want to say it, but it's just so needed because, yeah, if you just cover up the conversation, then yeah, it makes everyone feel more alone. Like, because yeah, you're gonna look around and you don't see anyone sharing your feelings or your point of view. Then yeah, you're just gonna feel more isolated that way.
Right. And I think like, I don't know, because like I don't go there with every topic because like, some things like I just don't have like the necessary like perspective, I guess. Like I'm not so qualified, but I think like mental health is something that unfortunately I think I'm very qualified to talk about. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if that's what you're comfortable with, that's cool. Because I've had that happen where, and I don't think there's anything that I haven't eventually made a video on
Yeah.
that like I wouldn't. Like, there's not a topic that I'm too scared to touch on. But yeah, especially with some of the ones I mentioned, where I'm like, okay, like I really need to like take time and like figure out my own thoughts before I just spew out whatever on here. Which eventually, yeah, a video is never finished. You just got to release it eventually.
yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of level of care you can do beforehand to just like, yeah, just make sure that the audience understands the perspective you're coming from and to just, yeah, just as thoroughly as you can. But yeah, like I said, yeah, at some point, I can't make a 5-hour
Right.
video. Even if I did, it wouldn't encompass every single argument. So,
But I think like, there's a point at which, like you said, you can't make like a 5-hour video with just like, oh, well, here's all this data and this stuff and this, like, you know, it's very like unreasonable to expect that, but it's about like coming from a place of empathy and ultimately like I won't say that it's like, oh, well, your intentions were good, so it doesn't matter if you put out some crazy like shit that has horrible, harmful effects. But like, I think just
but it's more forgivable if they do have good intentions,
right, and in doing your due diligence, it's just the human aspect coming at it from a place of empathy is, I think, the glue that binds together actual like well thought out positions on things. But
Oh yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah, I agree completely with that. And so yeah, I mean the game, yeah, back to, I guess we're finished with Burnhouse pretty much, but yeah, Burnhouse Lane, yeah, it just really accomplishes that without really like necessarily having to have a bunch of dialogue or
absolutely.
yeah, I don't know, yeah, just the way it's set up, they don't have to really put a lot of, they do need to put time into it like throughout the game, but I guess just at the end, like it just comes together very well where those quiet moments you're just able to kind of make all these connections in your own head and then choose what you want to do.
The main like farmhouse like storyline, it's very like slice of life. Like it's not, oh, deliver this beat, go here. And I think with like, the episodic things on like Burnhouse Lane where it's like, all right, creature of the week is fucking alien spine dude on the ship. Okay. I don't know what the fuck that is, but okay. But then like with the actual like story beats, it's very like, well, we'll just have a conversation and you'll probably learn something about this person.
Yeah, if
And
anything,
I really like that.
Yeah, I wish that there was way more, maybe not way more, but I mean, honestly, yeah, way more. If it was written as good as it is now, I wish there was way more dialogue in it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have really, but yeah, that's easy to say, but I mean, I don't want you to just write filler content or anything. But I think that's just like a testament to how well everyone's written. Yeah,
Just sitting with the characters.
Yeah, I'd love to chop it up with George about whatever hear Arnold talk about is yeah, just his weird obsession with serial killers, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, the writing on this game is really, really good. And I guess that's yeah, kind of about it with the game. Do you have
Yeah.
any other final thoughts on it?
Not really, just that I'm kind of disappointed people aren't looking as much at it as the other ones.
Yeah, because there's still an audience for indie games like this, but it's just so hard to get traction,
Yeah,
you know.
for
But
sure.
yeah, I mean, hopefully more people play it, and it gives the developers the resources to just keep going. Because yeah, like this is the type of game where it's just oh, it's on sale on PlayStation. What is it? Whatever. And then like it can just have a pretty heavy impact probably like on your life, or at least just on
Yeah.
a time in your life
The
that
death anxiety.
yeah,
Like
that
we
like
all got it.
yeah. Yeah, and I was gonna mention that earlier. I don't know if it's mentioning now, but yeah, just like the coming to death, to acceptance with death. In yeah, because it doesn't have to be like in a morbid way. That's what I was gonna say. It can be like in
Yeah.
a like a Seneca the philosopher type of way, where it is pretty healthy to think about death somewhat frequently. It doesn't have to, not saying wallowing in your misery, but accepting that you are going to die. Everyone that is
Right.
going to die, and yeah, that's sad, but also it doesn't have to have a negative twist to it.
Mm-hmm. And it's also like, what is gained from not looking at the big picture? Oh, you slave away to the grind more. Like like you're more like, okay, I'm not gonna think about the end sight. Just gonna keep doing this thing. Just keep doing whatever people want of me. Very having that death consciousness is, I think, just like absolutely critical to living a full, not realized, but like a full
I mean, I think
life.
realized is a good word, or enlightened is too
Yeah.
strong of a word, but an enlightened life.
But that kind of vibe of
Yeah.
like awareness and like awareness of your decisions and just having that control, I
Yeah, I
guess.
love that you mentioned, yeah, because, like, well, what's the alternative? Never thinking about it, and yeah, just slaving away. And yeah, if you don't acknowledge it, your life is going to be worse than if you healthily acknowledged it, because you just won't be enjoying the one life that you have. Um,
Yeah.
Cause yeah, I don't want to get off too much on a tangent, but that is like a kind of mindset I had pretty young. And so like, yeah, when I would work around, yeah, I had like really sucky like labor jobs, not that I like
Yeah.
summer jobs growing up. And yeah, the guys I would work around, yeah, they were always like trying to get, especially at this one place, they're just trying to get as much overtime as possible. And they're like, I hate that
Yeah.
phrase, you'll sleep when you're dead. I'm like, no, dude, like, no. I'm like, you're doing all this overtime, and like, for what? You're not even, you're blowing all your money on, like drugs and alcohol. Like, that's not, I mean, I'm not a big partaker of those things. So it's in moderation, obviously, is cool, but yeah, like you're just working for nothing. And yeah, I just hate that mindset. It's so crazy.
Yeah. And it's like, it's a mindset that doesn't really benefit you. Well, okay, here's the thing. It's like, if I say this as someone who can afford not to be slaving away all the time. So, like, I'm coming at this from, like, a place of relative, like, privilege with my time. But it's, you know, it's just very much a, like, not living for you kind of thing. It's like living for your employers and shit like that. And I'm
Hmm.
gonna stop before
Yeah.
this becomes a whole talk about capitalism.
Yeah, living for the
But
man, all that. Yeah.
hmm.
Yeah, but no, that's true. So yeah, I think a healthy acknowledgement is necessary. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, who would have known, 30 years ago that like a game would be the method of exploring that? Um,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, because yeah, I guess before
It's
that
really
it's just
astonishing.
books, and I mean maybe what we do need more of, which is like in-person conversations, but that's what it would be,
Hmm.
just in-person conversations or books. But now, yeah, in a way like this where you're just able to just go so in depth in it, and yeah, just the artisticness of it and the sound design and music is just, yeah, so enveloping and engrossing that I think it can affect you, yeah, a lot harder than if you just read it in a book.
Absolutely. I think we definitely need to take video games. I think Gen Z is pretty good about like taking video games seriously as an art form. But I think like in the community, like the art community, I think there's always been a struggle for video games to be taken seriously because, you know, to be fair, I don't know if like the definition of art is sometimes stretched with like more just like mechanic focused video games. It's like, oh, well, this is for like fun. But interactivity is massive. It's a massive tool. And I'm just so glad to see more creators kind of like pouring themselves into that.
Yeah, and I think it's probably stems from something that's good and bad. It's just people's social isolation, where if the only way you can grasp onto these ideas is in the somewhat isolated way of playing a game by yourself, at least you're getting the ideas. But it's not always. It might have that might stem from just people's
Right.
lack of interconnectivity in the real world, which is not the greatest thing, but
Yeah.
there is benefits to
It's
it also.
like, I never think that like the presence of more like art is bad, but there is a point where it's like your relationship with it, like you do have to consider what you're doing a little bit.
Yeah, and that's something that I've thought about a lot, which is hopefully something that this podcast will help me with, is just more in-person conversations, which
Yeah.
is great. But then again, the people that are listening to this, they're listening to it just on their iPhone by themselves or whatever. But you get my
Yeah,
my
for
point.
sure.
So yeah, I guess the next segment of the podcast is just talking about what we've been watching recently.
I saw Flow at the at a little local like discount theater that shows like films that recently left theaters, and it was phenomenal. I
Ah.
saw it with my brother, and we like looked over at each other at the end of the movie and we were like
Oh my god!
It was
I'm
so
so
good.
behind on all the Oscar nominated, and it's
Yeah.
so cool it won an Oscar too.
I was so happy
Especially
to see
everyone's saying
that.
like, it's just like something they made like in Blender.
Yeah.
Not that it didn't take a lot of work, but it doesn't have the Pixar finances to it.
And
So that's pretty cool they did
hearing
that.
the director talk about it like as his experience with like opening up to like receiving help from other people and just like talking about it from an artistic perspective, I was like, oh, that's so real. He's just like me. But yeah, no, we also have a little black cat that looks just like the cat in the movie, so the whole time I was imagining it as him.
Oh, that's so awesome. Yeah, I'm lucky enough. I'm when I do watch it, I'll go in completely blind, so I don't know anything about it.
It's
But
so
it does
good.
it looks so
It's
good.
so
Yeah.
cute. I recently watched this movie called Polite Society, which is like um it's by an Indian director, and it's like it has like Bollywood influences but also like Hong Kong action movie influences, and it's funny as shit. Like it's like also like British,
Oh.
but that was
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
fantastic.
I haven't heard of this movie.
I hadn't heard of it until recently. But yeah, no, I loved it because I have a soft spot for like action movies. Not like explosions and shit action movies, but like like kung fu action movies.
Oh, dude. Yeah, like Jackie Chan, like hand to
Yeah.
hand, like choreography.
I love that
Yeah.
shit.
Oh yeah.
Like, and it's been too long since I've like, been watching those kinds of movies. There's one that I really need to rewatch. It's called Hero, I think, if I remember correctly. Gorgeous
Oh
movie.
yeah. Yeah, that 2002. I forget the director, but yeah, the colors are insane.
Love that. Was just such a feast for the eyes. But yeah, no, Polite Society is hilarious. It's got a great story. And then last night, my roommates and I, we love Studio Ghibli movies.
Oh, nice.
But two of us had never seen Whisper of the Heart. So we watched Whisper of the Heart last night, and that was very cute. Also, again, with like the stuff about being an artist is great.
I'm behind then, because maybe if I saw the artwork, I would know that one. But I haven't even heard of that Studio Ghibli one. That's not one of their most popular ones, is it?
No, not really.
Yeah, that one sounds good. Because yeah, from them I watched The Boy and the Heron
I
somewhat
still need to
recently,
see that.
which for me, in my opinion, I didn't love it. A lot of people
Yeah.
do love it, but to me, I mean, the first one I saw is Spirited Away, so it's really hard
Of
to top
course.
that. So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and that's basic. Like, oh, Spirited Away is my favorite, Studio Ghibli movie. Yeah, like duh, but like it is like for a reason, you
I'm a
know.
Ponyo apologist. People will hate on Ponyo. They'll be like, "Oh, Ponyo's not as good." I fucking love Ponyo.
It's
The
very
dad
cute.
from
Like,
Ponyo.
yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, hey, yeah.
Hear
Yeah,
me out.
I haven't seen too many though. Too like I'm behind on it. Like I've obviously seen Princess Mononoke.
Great movie.
And I know the Howl's Moving Castle.
I
That one was
love
pretty sick.
Howls. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, they're like, yeah, I think I saw like an Instagram clip of like a 5 second crowd scene that took like animators like a year and a half to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, from that, yeah, like a fellow creator perspective, watching their stuff is just, yeah, it's so insane. It's almost
Absolutely.
depressing just because you're like, okay, I'm not gonna be that good, so
I
why
get
even?
absolutely like I get that a lot because like Studio Ghibli movies like are so beautiful and like so meticulously like crafted, I feel like. And they're like very comforting and like inspiring. But at the same time there is that like that ache of like God, I could never do that. But then they're like one of the things that I like is that Miyazaki often writes about like self-doubt as an artist. And that shit makes me cry. Anytime he does that in a movie, I start crying. Like Kiki's Delivery Service, oh man. But there's also that thing where it's like, okay, this is like a massive studio. Like, and just as,
Yeah.
as a film major, as someone in film school, like all the gears and all the people that have to come together to create something of that magnitude is just insane. But like, I don't know, like there's a lot to be said about the individual artist as well.
Yeah, about the huge studio thing. Yeah, like to some degree, just like any movie getting made is just like a miracle that it got through so
Absolutely.
many layers of, just eyes on it. Which then it's like that's a double-edged sword, because then like if a god awful, the easy target nowadays is Disney or Marvel. There's
Yeah.
over budget like $300 million plus. It's like, if this is the end result, like how did that happen? How did it get through so many layers of checks and
Yeah.
balances to be this awful?
Speaking
It's
of that,
so
I just
yeah.
remembered
So
you know what else I watched recently?
oh no.
I forced my roommates to watch the Cats movie with me.
Oh my god. Was it the fabled butthole it cut?
I didn't see any buttholes, sadly.
Oh
But
man,
okay,
I couldn't watch that.
it's horrifying. It's actually horrifying. So I love Cats the musical. I just love that type of shit. I've always been like a theater kid. Like I love musicals, and I will defend Cats the musical any day. I could never defend Cats the movie. Like
That's
it
fair.
was an
Yeah.
existential nightmare, but it was very much like how did this get released? Like,
Oh man, like, and because it's to the general public, it's so easy to blame the visual effects, like artists being like, it
right.
looks so shitty. It's
But they were doing the
but it's
best they
like,
could.
yeah, they're doing what they can. Like they're
Yeah.
doing, these 16-hour plus work days on this tight schedule, and if they don't agree to that, then the next studio, just out of livelihood, is going to agree to it.
Right.
So
And it's like
but I just know they're animating it frame, because it's so much detail, and like just the most
Yeah.
basic shot, all those hair fibers is just insane. You know that some of them are just like, this is fucking horrible. Like I want to like the whole
Yeah.
day, the whole week, there's like, this sucks, but this is what they want. Okay.
Especially when you know that like the whole directorial concept is flawed from the beginning. They said, yeah, Hooper, direct Cats. And he said, let's make it realistic. It's Cats.
Yeah, like come on. Yeah. And then yeah, just the chain of command down the pipeline, and just we could get into that, but good
But
grief,
anyway,
yeah.
what about you? What have you been watching?
Well, I did want to ask you real fast,
Mm,
because you mentioned, yeah, just film school in general and a theater kid. Yeah, why did you
yeah.
want to go to film school in general?
So honestly, but when I was in high school, like that was sort of what I was pushed towards a little bit because I've always wanted to be an artist. Um, as a kid, I've always loved theater and I've always loved dance and I've always loved music. But when it came to music, I have a brother who is a few years older than me, and he has always been an incredibly skilled guitarist. And I I definitely honed like my singing as a kid, but with like the music aspect of like instrumentals and theory and stuff like that, I was like, it's too complex for me. Like I'd suck at it. Like it's better if I just don't try. Um, and then at the end of high school, I said, you know what? Fuck this shit. I'm gonna be a musician.
Dude, I
um,
mean, the music that you put out is really good. So, like,
Thank you.
I would have
Thank you so
suspected that
much.
you've just been doing it for years, and
Nah,
that's
I mean, I've been doing it for years at this point, but I started when I was like 18. So honestly, like, I sort of wanted to go to school for music at the end, but by that point, I was like, well, I'm already on the film track. Like, cause I've always made videos. I've always made little short films just for fun. And then the people around me would see that and be like, oh, you should be a filmmaker. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I guess that's what I'm good at. I'll be a filmmaker. Um, and don't get me wrong, like I love making films and videos. Like I've got some more on the way. But and I love, film school is really cool, but that's kind of how I ended up here when I primarily put energy into music.
yeah, well, that's awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to see what you continually put out. And I like that, yeah,
Thank
you do
you.
have a mix of, yeah, just the video essays, which you still do.
Mm,
Yeah, your personality like goes through a little more, like, because you record yourself, of course. But
yeah.
then, yeah, you just throw up like a random short film on there, which is pretty
Mm-hmm.
sweet.
Yeah,
So I guess, yeah, I just wanted to ask you that just
for
because,
sure.
I mean, yeah, that's a thought I've had also, but I'm like, but like, I don't know. Yeah, maybe some of it's just like, yeah, just trepidation and just,
Mm.
yeah, just intimidation just by how good other people are.
Well, you don't have to go to school for it. I think the mantra that is good to live by is like, can you afford art school? Yes, absolutely go. But if you can't, just do it on your own. Like you can do some great things without school. A lot of people
Yeah, that's
have.
true. Yeah. Like, yeah, if you can, I think nowadays in, yeah, like for visual effects work or something, for example, yeah, it can help to have a degree, but if you have like a body of work that's just good,
Hmm.
then that kind of just speaks for itself, and you can learn all that stuff essentially just for free nowadays with just how many
Right.
resources people have.
Absolutely.
Okay, so yeah, I'll go to what I've been watching. Yeah, I've been trying to catch up on movies from last year and this year. So I watched Conclave is the last movie I watched.
Oh, how was that?
It was good. It's definitely not for everybody. I could
Mm.
see this movie being just accused of being boring just because
Mm.
it's just talking, but like I love that. Like that's awesome for me.
Yeah.
If yeah, if a movie is, I hate when people just throw around that phrase like, oh, it's just boring. Like, okay, well, was it
Hmm.
actually boring? Like, was the dialogue uninteresting, or was it just long? So
Yeah.
the dialogue in this is just so engaging. And yeah, Ray Fiennes is just so good in this, and the cast is stacked. Like it has like, yeah, Stanley Tucci. I forget his name, but the guy that plays the Trinity Killer in Dexter.
Mm,
Like
yeah.
it's just stacked. Like every actor is just so good. But yeah, like just the music in it was really good. I know it got nominated this year, but I think The Brutalist won for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the music does do a lot of this. Like it does pull forward a lot. Without the score being this good, it definitely wouldn't be as good as it is. But it's worth watching. Yeah, it's a good one.
Damn. Yeah, I need to watch that because I've been hearing about it, but I didn't really know what it was about, so I should watch it.
Yeah, me either. I guess just so you know, like it's not a spoiler that, it's basically about them going through the process of electing a new pope. And
Mm.
Conclave like is either like where they do that or is like the process of doing that.
Mm.
So at some points it gets very like, out in like kind of grade schooly, like, oh, this guy said that you're doing this and he's not going to vote for you. Like, oh, well, he said that he's not doing this and he's not going to vote for you either. And so, yeah, everyone has their little, intentions, and you're kind of questioning, oh, is he just saying that so that, the fake humble, like, oh, I don't want to be the Pope, but I really do want to be the
I
Pope.
feel like I
And
would
that's why you're
eat
saying
that
that.
up. I let
Oh, yeah.
any
Yeah,
like
yeah.
weird Catholicism shit. I love it.
Yeah, like if that makes it sound good, you'd love it. It's so it's so unique in that way. Like, they're just all like these old guys, and like they just get so catty sometimes,
The
just to
girls
each
are
other.
fighting.
Oh man, it is. Yeah, it's so good. It's like, yeah, this is like like Mean Girls if they were all in Catholic school and old or something. So yeah, it was pretty cool. I guess I maybe didn't love it as much as the people that loved it to death, but it's solid. I'd recommend you should watch it for sure.
Interesting.
And definitely, yeah, just for the soundtrack was so good. And then, yeah, before that, I finally watched Poor Things.
I still haven't seen it.
Oh my God. Because I've been waiting forever to get the 4K release, which doesn't exist still. Because I always try to buy the movies, especially like movies like that I know I'm probably going to like. I just would rather buy it and watch it on 4K. But, don't get me started. Yeah, Fox Searchlight, they just don't put out anything on 4K for some reason.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know how an Oscar nominated and winning maybe movie can't get a 4K release, but,
Yeah.
I digress. Whatever. But yeah, because the movie is, it's beautiful and definitely like very nuanced, and a lot of people can easily take it the wrong way. And it's just one of those movies that I think if you're watching it through the filter of seeing what other people are going to say on Twitter and how everyone else is going to be taking it, it just ruins the experience. Like, just a film needs to be aware of how it's interpreted by the audience, but also like it's this story that they're telling. This story isn't representative of, especially for the character of Emma Stone, how she progresses in life. That doesn't necessarily need to be characteristic of all women. It's not, all the men in that movie aren't representative of all men. It I don't know, there just seems to be a lacking of nuance for how people interpret it, and I don't want to give too much away in that movie, but it's I don't know. Yeah, it's a beautiful movie visually.
Damn.
And depending on your mindset or your expectations, also a beautiful story. But pretty depressing, but also like just hilarious at some points. Like, it's almost more of a comedy than it is a drama, I would say.
Interesting. I should watch it.
Yeah, do you know the synopsis about it?
Not really.
Okay, maybe I just won't say anything just because well, so basically there's a girl and she has like the mind of a child, but she's in a woman's body, and she kind of goes through a journey, and the way she frees herself in the society and grows is very controversial, and it it can be icky and gross at times, but depending on how you interpret it, it can also be interesting. So yeah, it's one of those it depends on how you interpret it. I loved it, but it'd be easy to get the wrong impression from it.
Well, interesting. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I would recommend it. It's very good. I don't know. Yeah, have you seen Yorgos Lanthimos' other movies?
I don't think
that he's
so.
done? He has this just his other movies would be like The Lobster, The Favorite, Killing of a Sacred Deer. But he just has like, I think you would love it because he just has the characters in the story are just so like, I don't know, like really blank and blunt. Like, they'll talk in a way that if the dialogue wasn't well written, you would think that it's like poorly delivered or poorly acted. But they're just so like blunt and straightforward, and like, a lot of dark humor and just like delivering really just like out of nowhere lines, just like with a straight face.
I love that style of dialogue.
Yeah, one of my favorite movies to ever do that is The Art of Self-Defense with Jesse Eisenberg.
Never seen it.
Oh man. Okay.
There's a lot of movies that I haven't seen for someone who's about to have a film degree.
Yeah. Like, is there a requirement for like, getting a film
Yeah.
degree? You have to see this many movies? I guess not.
Yeah, people always ask like, "Oh, what's your favorite movie?" And it's like, I don't know, I just work here. Like, I just make things. Like,
Yeah. In a way, yeah. Like a lot of like directors just don't even see that many movies just because like they're doing it. They're making movies all year, so they don't really have time to be seeing everything. Yeah. I'll just do one more for what I've been watching. Yeah. So I watched all the Psycho movies in a row.
I saw that you were
Yeah.
watching the Psycho sequels, and I was like, "What do you think about the
man.
Psycho sequels?"
I mean,
love them personally, and I think they're so stupid.
Like, I'll defend the second one pretty hard. Like, it has some camp to it, but like, yeah, 3 and 4, like, they're just so campy, but in not an intentional way sometimes, which is But yeah, it's weird because like the story kind of does warrant sequels, but also like not really.
Yeah,
But it was a fun experience for sure.
I just love them because they took like this actual masterpiece of horror and just film in general, and they said, "Nah, let's treat this like an 80s slasher film." And
Literally,
And oh fuck, I'm blanking on his name. Norman Bates, the actor.
Yeah,
I can't believe
Anthony
I'm forgetting
Perkins.
his name. Anthony Perkins. He eats it up.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
Like, he goes so hard for no reason.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Completely serious the whole time, like giving it his all, which pays off sometimes. With sometimes it's just the camp, unintentional camp is, but it's not hard to watch.
At times.
Yeah, especially the last two just being like 90-minute, bangers. It's like, you're not committing that much time to it, and they're just an easy watch. But yeah, the first one is still like the best, even from Anthony Perkins. Just like, and a lot of it just has to be the directing and dialogue, I guess. Just his like subtle delivery is just so good.
Oh, he's
and then
great.
it does. Yeah. It's very like of the times 80s camp in the sequels, which I wonder if Hitchcock ever saw. I don't know when he died, but I know it was like a solid
Rolling
23
in his
years.
grave.
He wouldn't have not liked it. Like, from what I've seen, I never saw the semi documentary about him. I think it's just called like Hancock or Hitchcock, not Hancock.
Hancock.
Not that. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, Hitchcock. I think it has like Scarlett Johansson or something in it, which is cool. But yeah, I've heard he's pretty uptight, so he definitely probably wouldn't like people even touching it in the first place.
For sure.
Yeah, I want to watch the Gus Van Sant like 1990 something remake, like the shot for shot. I'm like, because it's just why, like, because Psycho, rewatching it now, it is not really dated. I guess the kills, but any other aspect, like, what are they just talking, driving in a car? Any other aspect of it is not really dated, like, in any way. Like,
it's so
him falling down the
good.
stairs is, whatever, and the knife, like, it never actually enters her, but like the music and everything, just the cinematography is sick.
But it's just so iconic. Like, what's even the point of remaking it? Like, when it's so like. When it's aged so well, like as you've said, and when no one is going to be thinking of the fucking remake in the same way that they think about the original.
Yeah, and there's no benefit. Like, it's as good as the first movie. Why make it? It sucks. Yeah. You get hated for making it. If it's better, that's probably not gonna happen. So, but yeah, I think like Bates Motel, they did it perfectly. Where
I never watched
it's a prequel
Bates Motel.
and. Oh, okay. Like, I don't know if you really deserve your degree, but okay.
I don't know if I do either, man.
Oh man, no, dude. Like, Bates Motel is solid. It's that young Freddie Highmore, and it has like Vera Farmiga, the girl from, I guess everyone probably knows her from the Conjuring movies.
Yeah.
The mom from that. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, I really loved it. So I could keep going on my watch list for forever, but I'll end it there for the month. So yeah, the last question that I'll probably be asking everyone on the podcast is, in the spirit of solipsism, what's a
Mm.
film that makes you feel like it was created only for you?
Oh, that's a hard one. Um, Film.
I already have a film in mind, so I'm
Yeah.
lucky. I would do the same. I would do the same thing. I would freeze up. People ask, "What's your favorite movie?" I'm like, This week, it's
Mm-hmm.
I don't know."
'Cause like I definitely have favorite movies, but like thinking of one that feels as if it like was just for me, that's
Yeah,
hard.
like just
Oh,
perfectly on your wavelength. That it's just yeah, it like the blood and sweat of the filmmakers were just for you to watch it.
I actually have a crazy pick for that.
Okay.
You ever heard of the 1984 question mark Rankin Boss film The Last Unicorn?
Dude, the animated one, right?
Yeah.
I have. I totally have.
That's like one of my favorite movies ever. I like grew
Really?
up with it. It destroyed me as a kid, but I watch it now and I'm like, this is just me, the movie. Like,
Oh, that's so cool. Like,
like
yeah,
this is
that
my vibe.
I respect that pick. That's a solid movie. Yeah. Yeah. Have you
So
rewatched it recently?
existential.
Yeah, like I love the era. Like some films, kid films will do it now, but where yeah, it's like a kid, quote movie and it's animated, but just
Hmm.
the themes are just
Yeah.
way over the like yeah, like it's just stuff that
There's so many boobs
sticks
in
with
that
you.
movie.
I was surprised too. Yeah, like like any movie that's like PG before 1980 something is just like an R-rated movie today. Like
Yeah,
almost.
pretty much.
Yeah. But actually, yeah, I like that movie. I think I watched it because a rapper had a song or like had a whole album that was called that, and I think he used
That's
a bunch. I wish I could
awesome.
shout him out. I'm pretty sure it's Syntax the Terrific. He kind of yeah, like every song kind of had like maybe a sample from the movie or something, and so I kind of heard it. I was like, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Mm.
All right, I'll watch it, and then. Yeah, I felt weird buying it at the time because I was like the last unicorn, but I was like, oh, whatever, I don't care. I'm watching it. And
Yeah.
it was really good. I'm gonna get the Shout Factory did a 4K release of it. I'll get it on 4K. It's
Oh,
sick.
damn.
Yeah.
I want to read the book really bad.
I didn't even know there's a
For the
book.
book's very good. Yeah.
Oh,
No, it's but I think the guy who wrote the book worked very like closely on the production if I remember correctly.
oh, that's fantastic when that happens.
Hmm.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, that's a great pick. Yeah, mine. I
Yeah.
guess it'll get boring if I just say the same movie every time. But the first one that came to mind is just Donnie Darko for mine.
Oh,
Like,
I
come
love Donnie
on.
Darko.
Yeah,
That
like
yeah, I'd relate to that one
yeah,
too.
like you
Yeah.
could say yeah, basic, yeah, duh. But yeah, so he's literally me. Like, yeah,
He just
it's
like me for
fantastic.
real.
You just yeah, like drive. Yeah, it's literally me. That's what I do on a daily basis. Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, just like yeah, the way it does, it kind of just explores like just the journey of you starting to analyze the world around
Yeah.
you. It's just yeah, it was like a very formative movie for me, and I didn't even watch it until I really didn't get into like a lot of R-rated movies until like after I was 18, just because like I was pretty sheltered. So I
Mm.
think I didn't watch Donnie Darko until I was like 20 or 21 or something.
Wow.
So but I was still I guess in that angsty boy era, and I was
Mhm.
like yeah, that I still am in that era now.
No, yeah.
I'll rewatch it and I'm like, dude, this is still like, and that's a worry with movies.
Absolutely.
If you have nostalgia for them, you're like, I might not want to rewatch it now because it
Mm.
might have aged poorly or whatever. But yeah, Donnie Darko is so good.
It's great. I mean, I think I first watched it when I was like 14 or something, and I was like,
Oh,
yeah,
the perfect
he's
age.
just
Yeah.
like me for real. And but then I watched it again, like probably like 20 or something, like pretty recently, and I was like, not, it's still fire.
Oh man, yeah. I always it's so quotable. Like there's so many like just
Hmm.
perfect. Yeah, I'll tell you what he said. He asked me to forcibly insert the Lifeline exercise card into my anus. And the dad just like laughing, like busting up, like the
And
coolest
just like,
dad ever.
yeah, it just says like an indie movie, like the story behind. Okay, like of course there was nepotism because Drew Barrymore, but like kind of like an underdog movie. I feel like.
Yeah, I don't know how it was received when it came out, but I'm pretty sure it's a pretty culty, like a cult classic type of movie. I don't think it did very good.
Yeah, but it's got
And
that diehard fan base.
here's the big question, and I never get why people don't like it, but do you like the director's cut or the theatrical cut better? Because for me, it's director's cut
Ooh.
without a question, like at all. But
What did they change between them? I don't remember.
basically you get a few little extra dialogue scenes. I remember poor that like really chubby Asian girl in it. There's like more lines of them just dogging on her, so you feel bad. And
Damn.
then there's this bunny scene where in class they're watching that animated movie, like with the rabbit.
Watership Down.
Yeah, yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's the only reason I want to watch that movie now. I still haven't watched it yet. But yeah, it's like
I
a
watched
really
it recently. It's great.
yeah, it looks really sick. But yeah, there's a really good, and to me, like the scene in the movie is so essential, so I couldn't imagine watching it without that. But yeah, like this, how he's talking about just like the meaningless of life, and yeah, and the girl in it, the Jenna Malone character, I forget her name, but she kind of like goes back against him, and he's talking about just the artistic intent behind the author in creating these bunnies, because yeah, they're using like the bunnies as a
Yeah.
metaphor for Donnie's life. But it's so great. But then I guess yeah, the biggest difference in the two cuts is that throughout, maybe like three or four, five times, they show pages from the Philosophy of Time Travel book, and
Oh, yeah.
the only negative I've ever seen is people say that like spoils the mystery and gives too much away. But for me, it just makes the mystery worse, like in a good way. Like it just makes it like, okay, you do have more lore to this, and I don't know if the director has like like a definitive version of what the movie is or means, because you ask everyone else like what Donnie did at the end, or like how he did it, or even what it's about. It's just so hard to define. But yeah, so to me, those little spurses in there, it just adds so much to it, and I love it. But I guess
Yeah.
some people don't
No,
like it.
I agree. Now that you've brought it up, it's like, there's very few instances I feel like where I prefer like a theatrical version over a
Oh yeah,
director's cut.
yeah. Like that's happened one time maybe. Like yeah, and I'm a big Zack Snyder guy, so he always has
Yeah.
the death of every movie he gets is just a director's cut. And yeah, so he always has to fight for that. But yeah, I love it. But yeah, even for I think like Ridley Scott has some really good ones where the director's cut is way different and it just adds so much. And pretty much like 90% of the time a director's cut is just the studio thought it was too long of a movie and they shot all this extra stuff that adds to the story, and then on, Blu-ray they put it out.
Yeah, no, I think like The Exorcist is a big case of that, where it's like, because I think there's like three versions of The Exorcist, aren't there?
I I I don't know. I know there is a director's cut, but I know like a lot of Hong Kong films will have like so many international releases.
Yeah.
So I'm familiar with
Going
that.
back to Ghibli movies, um, localizations got me fucked up sometimes. I remember like with like the Nazca poster, and like they cut out like a lot of the shit from Nazca in the like, because it was pretty early on in Studio Ghibli's like existence, and
Oh, so they didn't have
Miyazaki
the
was
name
like,
brand to do it.
yeah, yeah. And and Miyazaki after that was just like, oh shit, look what they did to my girl Nazca. I can't let them do that again. But the poster, it went from this like lone girl in this like post-apocalyptic world, and she's like staring pensively out into this like world she has to save. And they were like, you know how we should market this to America? Let's make it a bunch of like crazy dudes like wielding these sick weapons. And it's like, what?
Yeah, like a total misrepresentation. And yeah, you're not doing anyone
Yeah.
favors, because anyone that's gonna go watch it because of that is gonna be a different movie anyway. So you're not there's no pleasing anyone. Come on.
Yeah. But yeah, no localizations.
Okay. Well, yeah, I guess that's it. Do you have anything about the game Burnhouse that you want to add to it, or any final thoughts?
I think we covered pretty much all of it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we did. I know there's gonna be something that I think of right after. Yeah, I put this out. That's gonna be a super critical thing that I left out. So sorry, guys.
Real.
But yeah. So yeah, thanks for joining me. I'd like to have you on again, just as
Sure.
for movies, games, whatever. And yeah, I'll put all your links in the description. Like, check out your channel. It's super sick. You had an EP
Thank you
that
so
came out
much.
last year, which is awesome. And
I'm releasing another one in a month or so.
oh yeah, Lucky Sisu. Check it
Yeah.
out. And okay, so thank you.
Bye.